guys, it's Benji and welcome back to another episode of Benji's Yo-Yo Tricks. Today I'm going to be showing you a trick called Around the World, and this is what it looks like. Now the type of yo-yo I recommend using is not an automatic yo-yo because you don't want it to be automatically coming back to your hand by the time you make that throw. You want to be able to sleep for a little bit as it moves in the revolution. But you don't want an unresponsive yo-yo at all. You want a responsive, sleeping yo-yo. The kind of yo-yo I recommend is probably one of those modified or imperial shaped yo-yos. That's what I'm using right here. It's a very simple trick, but first I want to show you a very important prerequisite that is not only used in this trick, but it's also used in a lot of future tricks that we're going to be learning. It is called forward pass, and this is what it looks like. So first I'm going to go over the forward pass. With the forward pass, what you're going to be doing is basically throwing the yo-yo outward, and it's going to come back to you. You're not going to really need to tug on it like you did with the gravity pull, but the type of throw you're using is very different. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold the yo-yo palm facing down, like this. And you're going to throw it out just like this. So again, it looks just like this. Now with the throw, what you're going to want to do is ever so slightly tilt the throw at a bit of an upward angle. You're going to want to throw it ever so slightly upward. Now what will happen with that is when the yo-yo hits the point where it's at the end of its string, which will be right about here, when it comes back to you, it'll come back at a bit of an upward shifted curve, and by the time it hits this point, it starts aiming downward towards your hand. Just like that. And the way you catch it is just like with the gravity pull, you're going to be turning your hand in the opposite direction. You're going to be catching it with your palm facing upward, just like this. Just like that. Now the reason for all of this is obviously because we have the force of the yo-yo spinning, and we have the force of the impact of the yo-yo hitting the end of the string. But another thing that plays into this is gravity. By the time the yo-yo hits this point right here, and it starts to come back to you, it's starting to move downward towards your hand. And the force of gravity, because the yo-yo is already spinning, will cause the yo-yo string to ravel around the yo-yo automatically as it returns to your hand. Very simple concept. Now let's get to the actual trick, Around the World. Again, Around the World looks just like this. That's a pretty simple trick as well, and it has a forward pass in it, so you're going to want to know how to do that before you do this trick. Now what you want to do with the forward pass in this trick is instead of throwing it slightly upward like we did earlier, you're going to be throwing it slightly downward actually. Now what you want to do to start off with this is hold the yo-yo with your palm facing down just like the forward pass, then swing your arm back just a little bit past your side, then when you release, throw it at a downward angle just like I mentioned earlier. And what you want to do after that is after the yo-yo releases, you kind of want to swing your wrist alongside the yo-yo so the yo-yo has enough momentum to turn around in this direction without having to come back to your hand. So it'll be swinging around in this direction. Now, when the yo-yo is swinging around in this direction, you kind of want to ever so slightly tilt your wrist alongside the yo-yo until it hits about this point right here. When your wrist is basically palm facing up, the yo-yo can virtually finish the job on its own. And by the time the yo-yo is made a full circle and hits about right here, about the point where the forward pass should be completed, that's when you want to return it to your hand. And like I said, when your hand reaches right about here, your hand will already be facing palm up, and that's the way you want to catch the yo-yo, just like the forward pass. You want to be catching it palm up. Again, it looks just like this. So like I said, you want to follow the yo-yo with your wrist ever so slightly until your hand is facing palm up. And the yo-yo can finish the rest of the job, and by the time the yo-yo hits about right here, you should be able to catch it. You also want to make sure you're being very watchful of the revolution. You don't want to turn your head like all the way around when you do it, but you do want to make sure that your eyes are up and that you know where the yo-yo is in the situation that you're doing the trick. Also make sure that when you do this trick that you don't have anybody like behind you or any like big desk or something behind you, because you don't want to hit anyone, and you also don't want the yo-yo to hit the desk because the yo-yo will probably come back to you from the back side if you had like something behind you. So again, to recap, swing behind your back, throw at a low angle, tilt your wrist alongside the yo-yo, and catch it like a forward pass. And that is Around the World. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Benji's Yo-Yo Tricks as well. I cannot wait to get to the next trick. I guarantee you'll love it. So thanks for watching Benji's Yo-Yo Tricks again, And I'll see y'all later.